Welcome to Fear Less, Do More, the podcast where we dive into the minds of some extraordinary and fearless businesses and people who are challenging the status quo and who are helping to change the world of business around us. I'm your host, Gill Hunter. I'm the managing partner at Square One Law. On each episode, I'll be chatting to innovators, change makers and trailblazers, where we explore the unique journeys of our guests. We'll delve into the fears they've faced, the setbacks they've overcome, the lessons they've learned along the way. We'll uncover the secrets behind their resilience, and we'll find out what motivates them to keep going even in the face of adversity. We'll also have a few laughs along the way too. My guests are all leaders who relentlessly pursue their passions, not only to create a better tomorrow, but who inspire us to push our own boundaries, those who fear less and do more. Hi everyone and welcome to this episode of our podcast. I'm really excited today because I've got a really special business to showcase. I have with me Gail Lawler and Andy Haddon from Big River Bakery. Welcome both. It's great to see you both here today. So for those who don't know, Big River Bakery, what is it?
Go on, Gail.
Well, Big River Bakery, we're a commercial bakery, but we're a social enterprise and we're there to do some good in the community. So we're balancing a business, a commercial business. We do wholesale, we've got a cafe, we've got a shop. We've also got a lot of community projects that are ongoing that we're trying to support our community.
So where did that idea come from? Let's start a bakery.
Shall I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it's 10 years old a couple of weeks ago. So we're in Shieldfield now, but that's in the last 4 years. I think I'd worked in the corporate world where it came from, and I got less and less satisfied with what you do there, shareholder returns and aims of business, and came back to the Northeast and wanted to do something that fitted more with my values. And I think the Northeast has the potential to be a place where a sustainable, healthy and affordable food system could operate at scale, and the world wants to come and learn how we did it like they did a few hundred years ago. And that's where it came from. And then, so we created a social enterprise called Earth Doctors. That's 10 years old. And then under that, right, how to achieve that vision, how do you start and not go mad? So the idea, thought long and hard for a long time, right, a bakery, that's the way to ground it. So you can stay grounded, but you can start with this complex challenge, bring the key actors in, and then build up from there. And that's been the journey of the last 10 years. Yeah.
So how much has your sort of corporate experience been helpful in what you're doing or unhelpful in other
Well, I think Gail too, because Gail's had more public sector project management, but similar institutional large organization management. I think you do learn a lot there on the way. For me, it was food and food logistics, graduate trainee. And so over time, developing logistics solutions to move, say, Marks & Spencer's food around Britain. So solution development, design, and then implement, make it happen. So that was the cycle I did in Britain, in Germany, and then in China. And so I think very time-critical work. You know, Santa's Christmas hampers can't be late for Marks & Spencer's. So that working in time-pressured environments to design and implement solutions. So I think that was, I didn't like it, I don't think, but I was quite good at it. So they told me. And so it was, that was my learning curve in the corporate world, which, there's lots of transferable skills there. And Gail too, I think, with her different but similar project management role.
I think I learned a lot about people and about managing people, the do's and don'ts that come with that in a large organisation. And I find myself understanding, especially some of the management side of it, trying to run your own business and the issues that come with it. And I also found in the civil service, I'm very creative and I didn't have that outlet for creativity. But now I feel I've got a good use for that. I can put my creativity to some good, so that's great. Feel more fulfilled.
Good. It's so important, isn't it? You spend so much time at work.
Yeah.
Yes,
You know, I think it's got to be an essential element is feeling fulfilled by what you do and feeling like you have a purpose.
Yeah.
What's your sort of overall aim? What do you want to achieve?
Well, I go back to that vision. It hasn't changed in the 10 years. I think, sustainable, affordable, healthy local food system for everyone. So a fairer food system. The bakery is a proof of concept of that. So, and it's a certain scale now. So in the next few years, we'd like to scale that out, not up, out, and have more impact, terms like the inclusive economy. So it's for everyone, not just for the affluent, any economic growth we have in the Northeast. So grow that bakery idea more widely, but then it's a business model really, and it could grow into any other area, not just food, but other foods beyond what the baked goods, what we produce and the social impact we have. So,
and I think it's when we talk about food, it's about employment. We've run some employability programs. We understand there's a lot of people out there with barriers to work, be they neurodivergent, they've been in prison. We've learnt a lot over the last 10 years. And we think there's a place for everyone, and trying to have a kind of model, a business model that supports everyone into employment or training and have a real career path for people, I think is really important for us.
And it'll only really grow through the partnerships and the collaborations, because we can't do it on our own. We may have 18 people, but it's still quite small. But engaging with the universities, with the NHS, with large corporates, we've done quite a lot of that. So the more we can do of that, I think the idea could grow quite significantly. Yeah.
And you talked there about social impact, and obviously that's one of your sort of core purposes.
Yep.
What sort of impacts are you making?
Well, some of the projects we've got at the moment, I talked a little bit about employability, which we ran last year.
Well, it was 3 years, wasn't it?
Three-year program that we ran. And so we learned a lot about that. We were funded for that, but it was very restrictive. It was restricted on postcode. We couldn't have people who were asylum seekers. So we ran that project, but we realised we didn't want those restrictions because we're very inclusive. So we looked at a different model now. So this year we've got weekly sessions that are open to anybody. So any organisations can come forward, be it schools, be it homeschooling, be it people with learning difficulties, physical disabilities, or just organisations that are looking at wellbeing for people. They can come and use our bakery. We can teach people to bake. And it's a great way of reaching out to people.
And there's some really massive problems we're facing currently with food poverty, with the cost of living. And so we do breakfast bags for school kids who don't get breakfasts. Like today, we've got daily, we've got children coming in. They're doing Romans at school, so they're all going to come in and make spelt bread today. So baking sessions for all the ages, really. We have run up to now warm hubs 2 days a week. So and there's lots of benefits. They make some bread or have an activity, but get some food. But also just the social side of interaction. People who are socially isolated. So it's quite a range of projects. We've had 2 resident artists doing a lot of weaving with plants that grow in shield fields, so brambles, making baskets. So again, really well-attended sessions. And so the impacts are quite diverse there across the groups. And go forward with that. Sometimes we try and be very creative to generate the income to make that possible. So we're not massively reliant on grants, and we get contracts to deliver. That was the employability with the city council. So you have to deliver or you don't get paid. So it's just a commercial contract really, but with social outcomes. So we're always looking at ways creatively to do more good and inspire people and inspire others to take on projects and try and solve the problems themselves. I think that's at the heart of it, because we can't do it all. So let's try and be a catalyst for others to have a go too.
And I think one of the things that we do, one of the other projects is we're talking about food poverty at the moment. So once a week we have a free food day. So anybody can come. It's an inclusive project. Anybody can come in. We have free soup, roll, pie, and we have a scheme for homeless people or anybody who's actually feeling the pinch. We have little cards because we found people don't want charity. They don't want that stigma of charity. So I have little cards at the front. People can just take one discreetly, bring it to the front, and they can have a sandwich, a hot pie, a hot drink. They can have anything they want, really. And it's working. We get people in every day using that. And a lot of that, we came up creatively. We created a pay-as-you-feel card. So customers can come in online or in the shop, and they're very generous. The support we've had from across the country, people paying for these cards, and that helps us fund some of these things as well, which is great.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, I mean, it must be incredibly rewarding. It's a two-edged sword, isn't it? Because you don't want to have to be to be in a position where we're having to provide these things, where we've got in this day and age people, unable to pay for food is a terrible situation to be in. But to feel like you're actually doing something about that and being part of the solution rather than the problem.
I think that's fundamental, because food banks and the dealing with the emergency, so that's all very good and necessary, but actually we need a kinder, fairer food system. And that's where we come in, I think, as an example of a concept that's different, that is about inclusivity and isn't reliant on a big grant from somewhere, or it's almost colonial, some of we're going to assist the poor folk. It's almost like the model of colonialism there. And so it can be viewed that way anyway, if you take that perspective. So it's trying to solve it with system change, but you can't do that top down. You'll only develop those alternative different approaches to food, bottom up. And that's what we're trying to be.
And I think something you said there, Andy, kindness. It sounds a little bit trite sometimes, and I find sometimes it's really hard to be kind. It's not an easy thing, but if people come in for food and they can't afford food, it's having a conversation with them. It's not just about giving them food, it's making friendship, it's making them feel valued, member of society. Yeah. And that's a really important part of it.
A little conversation works that way, but then we're a conduit for kindness. So the people who are more fortunate and got more finance, more resources, they've got a conduit to be kind, whether it's buying a voucher or some other thing. We've got I think there's our Stotty fellow, Scotty the Stotty.
I was going to ask about the new addition to the team.
Well, this is Gail being creative. She's written the book, The Adventures of Scotty the Stotty, and here's the fellow himself. He's soft and cuddly like a Stotty should be, but he's ready for work with his oven gloves like a good northerner. And
so for those who are listening and aren't watching the video, Andy has brought with him Scotty the Stotty, who's a small plush toy, a Stotty. He's about 6 inches diameter, and he's got some lovely little string hands with some special little
oven
gloves on the end of them. And he's looking very cheery.
But so people, they may buy him and they might not want him. So for themselves, so they say, okay, you give it to a child at Christmas who doesn't have Christmas presents. So that happened a lot this Christmas.
We gave away 160 to children in need this year.
And then we're still selling these and the book. And that funds the breakfast bags for kids locally in the schools near us who, for various reasons, don't get breakfast. So what's wrong with that? It's just great. But it's innovation and creativity to solve the problem ourselves in the community. But it's connecting different communities, the more affluent with the less affluent, but in a way they're all comfortable with. So that's really at the heart of things, I think.
And you've got onto the radar. You're obviously doing something different, something new, something that people are interested in and something that people value. We had a visit from two of my favourites, the Hairy Bikers. What was that like?
Well, I made the tea and coffee, so Andy was on camera, so I said...
Yeah. Well, not just me, because I wasn't the one making the stotties. Nick, one of our team, made them. Quite a bit of pressure there, actually. He did great. But we had a wonderful day.
They were lovely.
The pair of them stayed.
Lovely guys.
And they stayed all day. They spoke to everyone.
Made me a cup of tea.
So, and then they made such a lovely little film that's really had an impact on the business. It was great that there was a year, the BBC held it back because the schedule's changing.
All right.
So they held it back for a year, but we weren't ready.
And it was COVID.
Yeah, they came in a window between lockdowns. I think that's right. And so it just fitted right. And then we had a year to get organised, get a team in, get a baking oven in. So when it hit the telly, the queues down the street for ham, peas, pudding, stotty salmonies were big. I was baking hams and making peas pudding all night for quite a few weeks, and it was quite challenging. So anyway, we've still got queues now. We've kept on getting people contacting us and wanting to share our story on different radios and televisions and whatever else. So it's you've got to keep working at that, but because we're not on a main road, but we've created an audience which is far beyond local. People, a Stotty course we did last Saturday, we had people up for the second time from Suffolk who just like what we're about, that kindness thing, the values that we're demonstrating, and a means to act, and they want to keep coming on courses. So.
And we post Stotties to exiled Geordies across the UK, from the top of Scotland to the bottom of Cornwall and everywhere in between, which is lovely.
I would say it's northeastern folk, not just Geordies.
Yes, sorry.
Because the Stotties is a northern thing beyond just Newcastle, that where it evolved from. So, and the Stotty baking kits, the furthest we've shipped one was to Australia, and another went to Portland, Oregon, USA. So this product that used to never be sold south of York, in a small way, we've globalized it. And we could grow that a lot more, I think. And the effect is we can do more good from that. So that's the model, really, we're trying to grow. And it is much beyond the bakery. If we engage other food and drink businesses in the idea and grow it, I think it could help the whole region, because I think we are a bit different in the Northeast. I think we are, yeah.
Absolutely, no, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I was just absolutely, delighted to talk to you both, because I think you are real trailblazers in this area. And like you say, it's really interesting to hear you talk about this. It's not just about food or about helping people. This is a business model that is capable of being used elsewhere. And you talked about collaboration quite a lot. How important are partners to you in this journey that you're on?
Yeah, well, we can't do it on our own. We can't capture all the social impact. The universities can be really good to help us reflect and bring in knowledge from elsewhere to help us grow the idea. Corporates have massive resources. They want to deliver on their CSR agenda, but they don't want to be just a greenwash. So how can they do that? How can they innovate? Because sometimes it's really difficult in a big organization to do that. So you can externalize the innovation engine, and we can be part of that. So it'll help us grow, but it'll help them grow in a more sustainable way too, I think. Yeah.
I think we've had corporates come and do Stotty baking sessions, but we don't keep that to ourselves. Then when the corporates have made the Stotties, we've taken them down to a homeless hostel where they've been shown around, and that corporate has then helped that homeless hostel. Oh, yeah. So it's not just about us keeping everything for ourselves. No. It's sharing that.
That openness is really important, because what happened there was that corporate is global, and they posted on their internal, I think it was on the intranet, so they generated funds, and that didn't come to us. It went directly to the homeless charity. So the links come through. We're a sort of catalyst and an intermediary that can connect them into doing something good. So I guess we're talking more about what we can do for them rather than how it helps us, but it does both.
And how it helps us is, at the moment, we're looking for weekly sessions with any group, charity organisation who wants to come and do baking sessions, where it can be for well-being, whether it can be training, adding more skills, friendship, anything like that. So actually working with different organisations, charities, collaborations, we reach out to more organisations, so they help us, we help them. So it's a two-way thing, really, isn't it?
The City Council have been a great supporter of us too. They launched their inclusive economy strategy a couple of weeks ago at the Great Hall in the Discovery Museum. And they asked me to do the little 5 minutes at the end to inspire everyone to act. So we're being recognized as that. And so other organizations...
NHS, you've done some speaking, haven't you?
Yeah, a lot of leadership training for the NHS Senior Leaders Programme at NHS Trust Newcastle, make them think differently and make them start to think they can do something differently. The Guardian, well, Locality is an organisation that supports social enterprises UK-wide. So the Guardian annual campaign, charity campaign up to Christmas. So Locality, we're a member of that body, and between them and the Guardian, right, will you be effectively the poster boys for that Guardian campaign? So, and it pulled in millions, and that's then shared to lots of charities and social enterprises across Britain. So, and we get some profile out of that, but so there's those sorts of collaborations that are great. So there's such a diverse number of them actually over the years, because it's 10 years worth of building partnerships.
Yeah.
And we want some really deep ones, actually, rather than just a transaction. That's what we're after, really, because we want to grow. And so a couple of really deep deep collaborations that are beyond just, we'll come and do a study session, is what we're after, that corporates see a real win for them as well as for us, and grow together. Yeah.
Well, we've got a big corporate network, so hopefully there'll be somebody out there thinking that's the one for me. I always ask everybody on these podcasts to do something in 5 words. So in 5 words, what gets you out of bed in the morning?
Can you go? Do you want me to?
You go first. I'll think about my 5 words.
Gosh, 5 words. Well, I think 4. I think a very clear purpose in my life, because happiness comes and goes, but if you've got a purpose you're comfortable with for yourself, that'll do you.
I think mine is
Beat that.
make a difference, be kind. I mean, I always say when I put posts out and stuff, you know, it's an old saying, isn't it? If you can be anything, be kind, but it goes a heck of a long way.
It does. It does. And people, you know, you can make difficult decisions in business, as you will have to do.
Yeah.
But you can be kind in the way that you do it.
Yes, and if you sometimes you have to think about that, because we're not, you know, when you're busy and you're stressed and you've got to pay the bills. Sometimes things like kindness can go out of the window. We're not saints by any means, and sometimes you have to dig deep to be kind. But you have to dig deep to be kind. So it's not a flippant thing you can say, and it gets hard. But if you can just hold that mirror up to your face and say, "Am I doing?" And that's what we do, don't we? And we do spar with each other, saying, "Are we doing what we said we were set out to do?" And I think that's very important for us, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right there.
Well, that touches on something I was going to ask as well, because you're not just business partners, you're also life partners, you're husband and wife team. What's that been like? Well, we got married in October after 15 years together, so can't be that bad, really, can
Well, it's 6 months on April Fool's Day in a couple of days, so I don't know if that means anything. But gosh.
It's not easy.
No, we've got to make time for each other and together rather than purely talk about. So there's time when no B words to be mentioned and bakery words. That's really important. So so we're working on that all the time, actually.
We've learned a lot. I mean, we have, there's been difficult moments because we're both passionate people. We're both creative. We're probably both strong-willed as well, which has helped push the business and what we're trying to do. But in a partnership, it's give and take. And we've both, you have to learn as a couple, don't you? And we're still learning. And
you've got to have some clarity about the separation in roles, because that can cause conflict too. So as it's grown, that's changed. It used to be just me doing everything, and now it's 18 people, and Gail leading a lot more operationally in the bakery, and me stepping out. So I've had to learn to step away and let them get on.
And that's hard,
and then work on it rather than in it. So it keeps evolving. So we have to keep reflecting on it and adjusting to take the tension out. Yeah.
But we're very similar. We've got very different backgrounds, but we're actually very similar in our values and how we think. So I think that's actually made us very strong.
Yes.
When it's been tough, I think that's what's
It's like
us
you and your
strong.
writing, right? I can't write books. I don't think I can. That's a type of creativity I haven't got. So we've got different
Different
strengths.
but
Yeah.
at the core of it, I think we've got the same values and believe in the same beliefs. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, obviously you said you try to create time for yourselves. Just to finish off, what do you two do for fun outside of baking?
No. We go for walks. It's simple things, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's going out for a meal, going to a concert occasionally, theatre.
Yeah.
Family.
Family and friends. Yeah. I think that's it these days.
We do Reiki on a Friday. with
Yeah,
Anna.
yeah.
In Cyprus, we do a Zoom Reiki, which is very Zen-like.
Relaxing. Yeah, stuff like that. So, and I think, a bit more active, I used to go sea kayaking a lot and things like that. So some of the things have gone to the back a bit over the last few years because of the bakery. So we've got to bring them to the fore again.
And have fun. You've got to have fun.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You do.
You're a long time at work,
Yes.
and life is short, so you've got to make the most of it.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I'm absolutely delighted that you've had the time in amongst all of that stuff that you're doing at the moment to come and have a chat with me today, and wish you every success for the future because I think it's a fantastic business.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks very much. Thank you for listening to Fear Less, Do More. All of our guests come from a diverse range of backgrounds, but they all share a common drive to face their fears, take action, and create meaningful impact. If you've enjoyed this episode of our podcast, please follow us, Square One Law, on Instagram and LinkedIn, and share the content with your friends, family, and networks. Thank you, and see you again on our next episode.